Hello, my name is Elkrief, and in this video I'm going to talk about why believing the thoughts in your mind isn't bad and doesn't mean anything about you. So generally, when we come into contact with the method of disbelieving thoughts to experience more peace in your life and lose your suffering, whether that's through me or another teacher, we tend to also take on this idea that I am in control over whether I can disbelieve a thought or not, and the other idea of it is bad to believe thoughts. Alright, so let's examine that. Let's look at that, because both of those are beliefs. So, it is bad to believe the thoughts in your mind. Who says it's bad? If in a moment a thought pops up and you believe it, who is the one that decides it's bad to believe that thought? Yes, if you believe it will create a feeling, but who says the feeling is bad? Who says it's bad to have that feeling? Who says it's bad for your life to have that feeling? Who says that means you won't have peace? Who says any of that? Maybe it's best for you to have that feeling. Maybe that feeling will serve you in some way. But the thing is none of that exists as part of the facts, you see. When you believe a thought, you believe a thought. End of story. That's all that happened, right? When the chicken crosses the road, that's all that happened. It crossed the road. Nothing else happened. When you believe a thought, that's what happens. End of story. Any idea that it was wrong to believe that thought or bad to believe that thought is just an idea that you've been given based on conditioning. It's not bad to believe thoughts. There's no problem with believing thoughts. They create sensations in our body. But even those sensations aren't a problem or bad. It only feels bad when you think that they're bad, and you think that they're yours, and you think that they mean something about you. So it's no problem at all to believe thoughts. It's not bad. But here's the bigger part of it, that once we learn how to disbelieve thoughts, we think we're in control of it. So when we're able to stop believing a story or a thought in our mind or a judgment, we feel great. We lost that emotion. But on top of that, we have this sense of pride and pleasure about it. Like, I did that, and I did good, and I was able to disbelieve it. In other words, we take credit for it. We take credit when we're able to disbelieve a thought. And then therefore, naturally, when we aren't able to disbelieve a story, or a thought, or a judgment, we automatically take credit for that too. And then think, I am bad, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not getting it, and why is this taking so long, and this is a problem, and I'm not smart enough, and I haven't put enough effort, and all that stuff that creates guilt and shame and sense of unworthiness and sense of lack and all that type of thing. But let's look at that. Let's examine whether not being able to disbelieve a thought means anything about you. So the thoughts that arise in our mind, they just pop up. You don't pick them. You don't decide whether they show up or not. They just show up. If you pick them, if you controlled them, you would never bring in the negative thoughts into your mind. So you don't control that. And look, do you control whether you believe a thought or not? I know it seems like you do, but look at it. If you controlled whether you believed thoughts or not, you just would never believe them. Right? So what makes you think that you can control thoughts or control whether you believe them? Well, simply because you take credit for it when you're able to. But just because you're able to sometimes doesn't mean that you're in control of it. It's like thinking every day, I want the weather to be sunny. And then when the weather's sunny, you're saying, yes, I did it. It has nothing to do with you. You see? The thing is we don't know what we're ready for. If you're able to disbelieve a thought in a moment, you are ready to and you are meant to. And if you aren't able to disbelieve in a thought in a given moment, that means you weren't ready to and you weren't meant to. It doesn't mean you're not smart enough. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. I see some people that have a very strong intellect and it takes them longer. And some people that have a weaker intellect and it goes quicker. And sometimes strong intellect, quicker. Sometimes weaker intellect, slower. Intellect doesn't matter for disbelieving thoughts. The amount of effort doesn't matter. Or the amount of effort doesn't mean anything about us. Why are some people able to put forth a large amount of time and effort and other people aren't? We don't control the amount of effort we put in. It seems like we do. I'm deciding to put forth effort. But look at it. Peace is what you want more than anything else in your life, right? That's what we all want. So why don't you put effort every second in? Why doesn't everyone? If all we want is peace. It's because we don't control where we put effort, because effort is determined based on the thoughts that arise in our mind and the thoughts that we believe and what we're just ready for, right? So, for instance, you may want to go to the gym and put effort for it, but you just can't, right? Or you may want to stop eating something, but you just can't. We don't control what we do. If we did, we would always do what we want and not do everything we don't want to do. But yet we don't. That's not the way life works. It doesn't work that way because you don't pick the thoughts that show up in your head, and you don't pick the thoughts that you believe. So when you put forth effort, great, it was a gift. When you're able to disbelieve thoughts, great, it was a gift. It doesn't mean you're doing great. It doesn't mean you're excellent and you're getting it. No, it just means you were able to disbelieve a thought in that moment. And if you aren't able to disbelieve a thought, it just means you weren't meant to. It doesn't mean that you're not getting it. We tend to have this idea, it would be best for me to disbelieve all my thoughts now and be able to do it every time. How do you know? How do you know what the best progression is for you? How do you know when you're supposed to have a feeling and when you're not? How do you know? We tend to have this idea, it's best for me to lose everything now, but maybe it's best for you not to. Maybe you're meant to have more experiences of feelings and believing stories before you see through all of them. How could you possibly know it's best for it to happen now? How could you possibly know that to believe this story will prevent you from being in peace or prevent you from having peace sooner in your life? You don't know that. You don't know that at all. That's just an idea. So not being able to disbelieve stories doesn't mean anything about you, and it's not bad. Many people that believe their stories their whole life just wake up in a second and see through all of them. Some people, it's not this idea of getting to a place where you're abiding in peace and living with fulfillment. It's not this steady progression always. In fact, I don't know, maybe 95% of the time, some large percentage of the time, it's not like that. It's like this. Or it's just really, really bad, then all of a sudden you're fulfilled. Or there's so many different ways it can happen. You don't know what path is right for you. So I think that about covers it, but feel free to contact me if it didn't cover your specific manifestation of this conditioning. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.